It's like deja vu as Montreal is linked again to a silky mitts MHL Russian stud here in Alexander Zharovsky as they are set to meet with him very soon. The second round upside prospect has shown flashes of brilliance in the MHL, and we got to dive into why Montreal is looking at him and how he reminds us a little bit, though definitely not on the same level as Ivan Demidov. We're going to get into that incredibly fun story, but also we have a big update from Elliotte Friedman on one of the top, probably the top right-hand defenseman available on the trade market this year as Noah Dobson is reportedly being shopped. And finally, a little article that shines some light into what Montreal's plans could very likely be at the draft. So stick around for all that on this episode of Habs Digest. And we'll start there with the draft. Now, this was a great article by Matthias Brunet, and we will link it down below, where he kind of breaks down how you can see here, this is in French, but to translate basically, looking towards the draft, there's a lot of teams, including the Habs, that are ready to sacrifice some of their picks to get a short-term reinforcement, right? And he breaks down a bunch of draft trades in the past, Jesse, that do exactly that, trading picks for current help. Now, to put it bluntly, a lot of the time, it doesn't really work out for the team getting the help. I mean, the one I like to look at, because it involved Minnesota, was Kevin Fiala. He ends up getting shipped to LA. Hey, he's been fantastic, but now Minnesota has Brock Faber and Liam Ogren on their team, right? Jesse, when you're looking at potentially bolstering this roster by trading away our picks, this article really shed a lot of light into how a lot of the time, like, if you're good at drafting, you might as well just keep what you got. What do you think how that would affect the Habs plans this year?
I mean, it depends on where you're really at in the life cycle of your team. We've seen Vegas; they've had tremendous success of making trades and kind of being a little bit more pride of win now, kind of figure it out tomorrow. But they've won that cup. But we're seeing there's probably, obviously they might take a little bit of a tailspin. Like same thing with Edmonton and like Florida. They're in the Stanley Cup Finals, but the picks are sparse in those first three rounds. I don't think they have either team has any of them in those first three rounds. So it really shows like when you feel like you're ready to contend, that's the time to kind of trade your picks for immediate help to kind of build around the core you have right now. If you're feeling like you're still getting into that window, probably a good idea to still get those picks. So this leads us to reason, Josh, that Kent Hughes is going to take a hybrid approach. Maybe similar to his college days where it's like you trade one prospect, you keep another. I really suspect Kent Hughes really to be taking some type of approach when it comes to this year, because we're not ready right now just to be in full contention mode of really trading both of them. But I think but we're getting there, right? Like even as soon as next year, I could see this team being much more aggressive where it's a world where we're trading away our first round pick to get something a little bit more immediate, because let's face it, like, we have this core around Nick Suzuki and Cole Caufield especially, and they're not the only parts of the core, but they're a big part of it. And you'd have to feel like for Kent Hughes to really do his best job, he'd want to pack the biggest punch he can while they have that window of Suzuki, Demidov, Hutson. If you could kind of get something to really go within that window, I think makes a lot of sense. So I think we're going to see a hybrid approach right now, but Kent's going to get more aggressive as time goes on and very quickly as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like one thing to glean from this is like, I think it'd be a mistake with Montreal's drafting history, especially within the Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton regime. Now, again, there's still time will tell with a lot of the guys. Looks like a lot of them have been great picks. To get a veteran short-term replacement doesn't really seem like a great idea. If he's using these picks to trade for a younger player that fits the timeline, which is basically just like a draft pick moved up a couple of years, that can make some sense. Yeah. So I'm really up for that hybrid approach you mentioned, but gotta hear from you guys. With a lot of these trades not paying off for the team getting the reinforcements, trading away the draft picks throughout history, sometimes it does, of course. Let us know what you think the Habs plan should be, because at this point, making those picks could very well pay huge dividends longer term. You won't be looking at this trade in 5, 6, 7 years like, dang, the Habs traded the rights to blank and blank for this other person, right? So have to take a look at that. But look, Jesse, if we're talking about reinforcements, there's been one name that we've talked about a lot, especially on defense, because look, the Habs D-core, we know we need some right-hand shot defensemen. With Reinbacher and Mailloux still being there, ready to jump in the lineup, I feel like we've said it 1,000 times. Right now, we only have that one certain guy in Alexander Carrier, and we've looked a lot at different options on the market, but this recent update from Elliotte Friedman on the 32 Thoughts pod said about Noah Dobson, quote, "I've heard quietly that the Islanders are testing the market on him. I think they just want to know. I know there have been a lot of Romanov rumors, and I've had a few people tell me that Dobson is the guy to really keep an eye on." And Noah Dobson, Jesse, he's been a guy we've mentioned a lot because this dude has like an incredible 70-plus point season just a year ago. This year was a bit of a down year. Definitely gives some back defensively. If you don't like Mike Matheson's mistakes, you'll hate Noah Dobson's mistakes. There's a lot of similarities there for those two guys, but 6'4", 25 years old. The only problem with him, Jesse, is that right now it looks like he's going to get a $10-11 million per year contract with the cap going up and up and up. And now recent reports saying it might even go higher than expected. I think Montreal should kick tires on Noah Dobson, at the very least, Jesse, to explore what the price is, just like the Islanders are just exploring him. But at this point, I'm starting to realize that, again, as much as we know right D, or like, they're hard to come by, we'd love to get one, they cost an absolute fortune, not just to trade for the rights, but to extend long term, and that worries me.
For sure. And this has been a player that I have been open to in the past. I think it's open to kind of own your takes, though, because it's an evolving situation, especially knowing that Jesse's going to have such a big contract kind of coming forward. Josh, I'm more of the opinion now that we really need to bring in more of a defensive guy, really, than anything else. Montreal Canadiens, they were one of the teams that allowed the most goals in the NHL last year. You have to feel they still got in the playoffs. But if they want to take that big improvement and get back there again, they are going to need to bring in a guy that can help defense. It's not a question. They really do. And for me, like, bringing in Dobson, unless Matheson is going the other way, does seem like a little bit of a lateral move there, just because obviously we need a little bit more of that defensive guy, especially just, considering the constitution of our D already, where you have Hutson already, like, that's our PP quarterback. Nobody's taking that spot from him, and you're not really getting the value out of a Noah Dobson if you're bringing him over and not allowing him to be your PP quarterback there. I just think we probably need a little bit more of a defensive guy here kind of going forward. That's what kind of makes a little bit more sense to me, especially considering some of the other needs that, obviously Kent, I don't think is going to be too quick to dole out what he doesn't see like as a need, but obviously not the biggest, especially given a little bit more of the offensive nature of his game, Josh. So I would have to respectfully probably decline, given, the huge cost he's going to have. Great defender, 70-plus season, not too long ago. I just don't think quite a perfect fit for what the Habs need right now.
Yeah, and look, I think we were pretty much on board the train when there were rumors before, but as the time goes on and we look at the makeup of this team, and again, losing a guy like Savard, there's certain presences that you need in this team, and you're absolutely right, Jesse. A lot of cup contenders have size in their decor and big-time defense in their decor. I mean, Gustav Forsling, the dude was so phenomenal in that Stanley Cup final. I think he got a vote for the Conn Smythe, I think, right? Like, there's a reason these guys are important to the team, and we have some good defensive players, but a guy like Noah Dobson, like, again, yeah, he would be great, but I think the cost to get him, plus the cost for the extension, would be a bit too steep for Kent. But let us know your thoughts on Dobson down below. Maybe you disagree. Maybe you'd love to have him on the team. I'd love to hear from you. Final topic, though, Jesse. This is one of my favorite things we talked about in a bit, as David Calabretta, and this was further confirmed by other people like Nicolas Cloutier, a few other people. The Montreal Canadiens are expected to meet with NHL prospect Alexander Zharovsky Saturday at the Gold Star Showcase. Now, Zharovsky, again, Jesse, I said at the start, a bit like Deja Vu. Now, no, he's no demigod. That's for sure. He absolutely is not. But he has gone from being unranked to now the number 5 European skater by some places. He's 6'1", 163, definitely on the lighter side, still very young. Born in 2007, he's 18 years old. He's a left-shot right winger with Tolparyu Ufa, and I'll be sourcing Dayton Reimer's article linked down below from the Hockey Writers. Go check it out as well. But you can see here, 5th among EU skaters, but he's ranked anywhere from 20th in the scouting spring rankings from SMOT all the way down to 66th. He looks to be a second-round pick, Jesse, looking to probably be available with Montreal's first second-round pick, and looking into some of his scouting reports, he's a magician with the puck. He finds opening using his quick speed, has an incredible level of control among his peers, no problem waiting out those opportunities. So many great things here. Very active stick defensively as well, and while it wasn't always successful, he's often in the right place at the right time. And we'll just roll these clips again. Taking a risk again, especially in the second round, on a guy who kind of rises out of nowhere, who has super skill, but definitely has some aspects that wouldn't fit the NHL game. Some of his decision making right now shies away from contact. This to me sounds like one of those big swing, big risk, big reward picks for Montreal, Jesse, especially with the plethora of picks that we have this year.
For sure. And they might not be waiting with such later picks to make some of this big, swing for the fences type of moves, just considering the depth that we have in the organization already. Like, this is going to affect how they approach a situation. And this is an interesting situation, absolutely. That you have to feel like Nick Bobrov is behind the scenes, just cooking on here. And we know here, like with Zharovsky, think Slafkovsky, but Russian and just not as good. Okay, like no, but there's some serious upside to his game really in the same part. Like he took a huge leap in that second part of the season, and people that are always like those late draft risers that are kind of performing when there's tons of kind of pressure around them for them to increase their draft spot. Like for me, that's a really positive sign. Like just having those amazing hands, being able to know when to pick his spots in the offensive zone. And again, probably not at the Demidov levels of production in the MHL. We saw MHL Demidov was producing basically 2 points a game. Our boy Alexander here is more of like 50 points in 45 games. That being said, you know, he took a major leap up in that second part of it. And yeah, like the big thing with him, people will say is kind of like the lack of like physical play, but like when I'm watching him, Josh, like clips, you know, it's hard to get like the full MHL games, but like when we're doing some research into this guy, like for me, this is a guy though, like he does have a motor. Like when I'm watching on the ice, he's skating. It's just he's just not going the rest of the way to hit, and that can be problematic. Like you want to take advantage of your skating. I'm not a huge fan of flies bys. It's like when you're there, you kind of want to take advantage and capitalize with making some contact there. That being said, like all the tools are there. I think if you just get coached up like he's skating, the work ethic, it's just about kind of bringing it the rest of the way. It's going to be up to Kent Hughes. Like, is that something you feel like you can coach? Or is that just like a complete intangible? Like, oh, if he doesn't like to play physically, he just doesn't like to hit. I'm sure different GMs around the league have some different, varying opinions on this going forward. That being said, like he absolutely fits the target of kind of that high reward. We got the depth. I mean, we love our Owen Becks. We love our Kapanins, right? But this is a player here like Alexander Zharovsky. Like he has definitely a higher ceiling, I would say, to be better than both of them going forward. That's why when I think that we have that depth in the organization, taking those type of swings is something that I would be open to a little bit more of those riskier type of picks.
Especially if you have an extra second round pick coming up after 3 third-round picks, right? Now, he's probably not going to be available down in the third, but you're absolutely right. Like, again, you can't teach that skill, not at that age. And again, it's the MHL, so making them look foolish, making it look like you're not trying. It's exactly what Demidov did, right? And even did that at SKA in the KHL at points. But again, there are some issues, like shies away from contact a bit. He has a lot of habits where he'll like skate back to the blue line and almost turn it over, sometimes does turn it over. Stuff that won't fly at the next level, but can be taught because his unbelievable skill is something that stands out. And hey, it's a very, very fun thing. And hey, as well, Montreal loves to take swings on some Russian guys with later picks. I mean, we saw Yevgeny Volokin, that's paying off. He's trading with the Habs right now. Bogdan Konushkov looks very solid, captained his team the year after he was drafted. Even a guy like Makar Hanin, who we drafted in the 7th round last year, he hasn't shown up great this year, but he's just another Russian guy that we took a swing on, right? So it wouldn't be out of character to pick a guy like this. Very, very interesting name, but leave your thoughts on Alexander Zharovsky and the odds of the Habs taking him in the 2nd round down below. But that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for tuning in every single day. Draft is coming up sooner than you think, and we'll have every single update for you. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.